to nature. Maybe that's what the current president is promising us. That the broom, using the broom is much better for environment and for everyone.
All of it. And talking about matters of the environment, there are those that have said that...
we don't take that very seriously.
Yes. That it wasn't reflected in his renewed hope agenda, so to speak. We saw what happened last year with regards to the rains, where farms were drowned, and then we saw what happened in Bayelsa, the water, and that kind of displaced a lot of persons. And over time, they are still struggling to get back in businesses, return home, and all of it. How should we even begin to address this matter of the environment? The NIMET has told us this year that we should expect more rains. And now that he's coming into government, how should we begin to address all of those issues?
I think one of the best things that we can do is still ensure that we involve the people in our policy making. Controlling your environment, like any other thing, has to do with the policies you make in terms of what you consume, in terms of how you plan your cities and those places that are not cities. Your space is your environment. What do we consume? There are countries that have been able to identify that the use of plastic bottles, for instance, is not good for their own system. And so they eliminate. Those countries are not in Europe, they're not in North America, they are around us in Africa. And that is because they involve the people in the planning. What we've seen in Nigeria over the years is a blind copy of policies from the foreign world and the imposition of such policies here, hook, line, and sinker. Whereas our environments are not the same, the rain temperament, the wind temperament are not the same. So what works over there cannot work here. She is not going to be able to work here. So the president now must also show that disposition towards involving the people. I emphasize on this. Democracy is all about people. If people are not involved, then call it whatever name. It's your choice. But if it is democracy, people must be involved. I give you an example. You remember that in Nigeria or in Lagos, there was a time, there was a policy that was made about the use of helmet, you know, on Okada.
Yes.
Then Okada was not banned in Lagos. The government of, I think, Raji Fashola, you know, insisted that both the rider and the passenger on Okada must have
helmets on.
That policy got into somersault within 2 months.
That's right. That's right.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because the people were not involved. The Nigerian people have diversity. In Lagos, a huge majority is the Yoruba. Yoruba people perceive...
Sorry, just as if they need any introduction. You're so precious.
Okay.
And Mike.
Okay. Lagos is almost dominated by Yoruba people. Almost. I don't have statistics. And there's a way the Yoruba people perceive their head. They call it Ori and Eleda. That's their worldview. That's their sentiment. So for me now to mount on your Okada and put on my own Eleda, you know, the Akoto that another person has used, I won't do it. So what happened then is that people will now buy the emblem and race it like this on the Okada. And then when they see a policeman, they drop it. And after you go, because they were not involved. If you had involved the people, they would have told you, this cannot work here. So government must learn to involve people. You cannot be wise.
We
consult with people.
Okay, we've got to cross over to... let's cross over to Eagle Square, because I believe the audio is better now and we can get some commentary. And that's quite apart from the bonus. In fact, it's the main job. It's not the bonus. Precious, I just saw Precious and Mike there. Can't wait to hear from you guys. But let's hear from Eagle Square itself. Enjoy this parade and the commentary behind it. So, but clearly the parade is underway as the ticker indicates. This is to be expected. You see these kind of elaborate parades at this kind of time, and I'm sure we're going to get commentary. As you saw a preview there of Mike and Precious in Abuja. That's just part of the big team in Abuja that will be covering all aspects of this. And so we'll be hearing directly from them in due course.
Absolutely, and they will be giving us account. Okay, we are getting some audio there, but I was going to say that Precious and Mike will be giving us behind-the-scene accounts of some of the things we can't see on the screen.
Exactly, exactly.
Lieutenant Colonel Sabi Yusuf Hassan, who also doubles as the commanding officer, 7th Guards Battalion, Lodi Barracks, Maitama. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the instruction will be presented. Please submit to the organization of the President down the table of companies. We start with the officer. May I also recognize the President of the President of African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Additional. Welcome. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to transition on the parade now complete. Any moment from now, the parade commander will take his position in front of the guard and give orders for the color party to march on parade. Mesdames et messieurs, en quelques minutes, le commandant de parade va ordonner aux escortes de drapeau de marcher et prendre la position au terrain de l'équipement. Merci beaucoup. The rally is request all our distinguished guests to rise and to mark or register to the colors when the color party marches on the parade, while officers and while officers in uniform are to salute. Thank you. Please, I request all our distinguished guests to rise as we mark or register to the colors.
Because of those
Officers and warrant officers in uniform are to salute. Thank you.
Okay, I like those previews that we're getting. It's sort of presaging and telling us that, you people have, Veronica and I in studio here. It's time to hand over to another team.
As well as our guests.
As well as our guests, of course. We'll involve Kayode in this one. Yeah. So first of all, we have to thank Kayode.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Helping us out.
We hope for the best.
Absolutely. It's been an interesting one, and we're talking about the parade, the precision, and all the work that would have gone on behind the scene. And we will be seeing much of that as we saw Mike and Precious waiting to take over from us here in the studio to give you all the details that you need.
So over to you guys.
All eyes are on Eagle Square, where the presidential inauguration of Nigeria is taking place today, with world leaders being here present. And it's been a wonderful morning. Welcome to our coverage of the program. I am Mike Okwache, and certainly I'm not here alone. My colleague is here, Precious Amayo. Precious, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Well, the rains, it seems the rain was the universe was just answering to what was going to happen today.
Yeah,
and
Mike,
it's been an amazing morning. The rains have poured in and everywhere. The weather is so cool and so nice.
It was hot yesterday. For those who were at the Eagle Square, I'm sure that some people would have been worried. But for those of us who were here yesterday, it is a blessing because now the weather is cool. But you said all eyes are on this Eagle Square. Mike, all eyes are on Nigeria.
No, of course.
This is an event that is historic, and it is very significant. It is the first time the opposition party will be handing over to itself. When the APC took power in 2015, many people felt, is this just a one-time thing?
Oh, yeah.
Will the APC be able to continue? Now it is handing over power to itself for the first time after about 16 years of the PDP. It's also very significant and historical because we know what's happening in Africa at the moment, the coups in different West African countries, and even just in Africa. And many people are now looking to Nigeria. Both the international community and Africa is looking to Nigeria for political stability. And this is a reinforcement of that stability.
Yeah, when it comes to looking up to Nigeria, this has been the norm all the while. And Nigeria has been that leader on the African continent. You could see the role Nigeria played in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Congo, in Sao Tome and Principe. And then in recent times, we've seen what Nigeria has done in stabilizing Gambia after Yaya Jammeh. We also see how Nigeria is performing the role of ensuring stability in Mali and trying to ensure that the coup d'etat there. In fact, Nigeria has been leading the African Union as well as the ECOWAS community to ensure that democracy returns to those countries. So Nigeria, in every way, is the arrowhead, is the forefront, is the house on top of the hill that everyone looks up to, especially the African continent, for that leadership. So this is the reinforcement, like you said,
absolutely,
of that leadership.
Perhaps,
and you
Mike,
could see,
Mike, while we have a lot of delegates, so I think I understand we have about 66, as of yesterday, there were about 66 heads of delegates and 62 heads of delegates and 26 heads of government in Nigeria. And so it's because of that stability. I just wanted to, confirm what you were saying earlier, that look, because people are really looking to Nigeria for that stability.
Exactly. If you see the array of leaders, world leaders that have converged on Abuja yesterday, and in fact we had our reporter, the correspondent, foreign affairs correspondent Moyo, who was at the airport, reeling out, monitoring the arrival of heads of government. It was just amazing. And it was really interesting, the way they were coming in and so on. I think one very interesting one, which we'll speak to Moyo later, is the president of Congo Brazzaville, who seemed to have the largest contingent. He came in with the Boeing 676, I think so, 676, with the largest contingent of his country here. So it tells that they are ready. In fact, I believe they would have led the delegation of all private sector, all sectors of endeavor, to try to see how they can use the opportunity to, engage with Nigeria going forward, knowing the new president coming in, knowing his capacity and what he is, and the pedigree that he has, and so on. Now, today The parade is ongoing,
Yes, it is.
and as it is, it's going to be this colorful military display we're going to see here, and all of that.
The
armed forces.
And the Nigerian police.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mike, this reminds me of when I was in primary and secondary school.
Oh, yeah.
Always, I mean, you know, the March 27th Children's Day, which was just about
Oh
2
yes,
years ago.
they don't have that anymore.
No, we go to the stadium and do this.
Exactly.
This is really different.
Uh-huh.
If you serve, if you know, when you come in Nigeria, you also get a chance.
No, of course.
You know, to be part of the parade and just to see it's really beautiful to watch. And this is what we talk about, the military.
Oh, yeah.
The discipline, the precision. You see all
The
of that.
regimentation
Yes.
is really
All of that,
fantastic.
coming to display, you know, today. And you mentioned with us speaking with Moyo later. Let's also tell you that we have our correspondents all across the Eagle Square covering different angles. You are not going to miss a thing. And then we are going to, we have our eyes on the president-elect.
Oh, yes.
As he leaves the defense house, you know, all the way here to the Eagle Square. We are going to, you know, we follow him
Oh,
on
yes.
that.
In fact, if the sequence of arrivals
Yes.
after the of various leaders, ministers, and all of that, and our ambassadors, when they arrive, then we have the Chief Justice, because there's a sequence of arrival. Then we have the Chief Justice of Nigeria will arrive. After him will be the Speaker, House of Representatives, and the Senate President.
Yes.
So after they arrive,
The
then we
Vice
have the
President-elect.
Vice President-elect will arrive. Then the President-elect will arrive. After the President-elect, then we have the sitting Vice President of Nigeria arrive, and then the biggest masquerade in the land, the Commander-in-Chief, the President, will now arrive. Now, when the President arrives, then the event has formally started with the national anthem. So that symbolizes the commencement, the formal commencement of the entire ceremony. You know, so it's really interesting.
Absolutely, and there are very little details that, you know, people really don't pay attention to in the parade. Is, you know, the car the president comes in, what's in that car, you know, the car the president-elect will come in, what's on that car as well, because you're going to see flags. You know, on the car that the president, the outgoing president will come in, the flag of Nigeria as the president of Nigeria, and then the flag of the armed forces as the commander-in-chief, but none on that of the president-elect. But we'll see a switch, you know, once that vote of office is taken.
Exactly.
We'll see that because, you know, as they would always say, there can only be one commander-in-chief
at a time.
At any point in time. So we're going to see a switch. It's you know, we talk about, you know, how organized or not organized we are as a people, but this is one event where you see that there is a lot of attention to details. Everything that is going to happen here, apart from maybe a dance, you know, from cultural trips across the country, but everything that is going
Everything
to
is symbolic.
It's symbolic. Symbolic.
Everything is symbolic.
Everything is something we should pay attention.
Yes.
Nigerians should pay attention.
It's really interesting, and we wait for that. And you were talking about the switch. The moment that switch happens, everything just changes around the president-elect. He becomes the commander-in-chief immediately. And after that, the president will be called former president. The vice president now will be called former. All of this will happen within the next few hours. And then the moment that happens, then the president will leave the arena here. At the moment he leaves the arena here, he goes straight to the airport, and from there he goes for the last time, exactly.
And then, you know, we're going to have a correspondent also in Katsina to bring us, you know,
Be sure that we'll let you know when the president now, who is going to be former president in the next few hours, when he arrives in Daura, will be there. The vice president now, who is going to be former president in the next few hours, will let you know when he arrives in Ogun State, you know, and so on. Now, the parade that is ongoing right now is really another symbolic thing you were talking about. Now, the horse.
Yes.
That's really interesting.
Yes.
It has a name.
And we got, you know, just to let our viewers know that we had a first glimpse of that horse.
Oh, yes.
It was right in front of us
Of course.
at some point. And we saw how, you know, the horse was being taken.
Yeah. It was being pampered.
And a beautiful horse.
Yeah.
And you were going to talk about the symbolism.
Yeah, no, the horse, the name of the horse is PMB. That is the name of the horse. So it's been named PMB after the president, And the point there is it's quite symbolic because this is said to be the last parade that the horse will be partaking in or participating in, because the horse is quite old and the horse will be retiring after this parade. So this is the last function, or official function, that the horse will be, that PMB will be performing or participating in. So we have PMB the horse retiring after this parade, and we have PMB the President Muhammadu Buhari also leaving office today. So it's quite symbolic to have both of them retire. And if you see the way the horse is dressed, it tells you that it's also in that regimented, format, and it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful.
And let's also talk about, things that will be retired here today. At some point, we're going to see flags that were hoisted, both the Nigerian flag and a defense flag, being pulled down, folded neatly, handed over. It goes to the RSM, to the commander, and then to the chief of defense staff, and straight to the outgoing president, who will hand it over to the president-elect. And then, the outgoing president will take that. But the new flags will then be handed over to the president-elect.
Yes.
And because it's symbolic with that office, it's just like the horse. It is symbolic with that office. And so we're going to see a lot of details, a lot of things, and we're going to explain it, to our viewers to understand that, look, this is not done just for the sake of it. They are very, very symbolic.
Yeah. Now, another thing there is the parade commander, who is leading the parade today, very colorful parade today, Lieutenant Colonel S.Y. Hassan. Recall that he was promoted to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in 2020. He was a major before he was promoted to a Lieutenant Colonel in 2020. He was amongst 421 military officers that were promoted. And he's doing that was under former Chief of Army Staff, General Tukur Burate. Now, another very symbolic thing is the president that will be sworn in today will be, there has been this issue of, is he the 16th president? Is it, all of that. Now, let's break it down now. The point there is, he is the 16th head of Nigerian government. But when it comes to democratically elected president, he is the 6th democratically elected president. And that is after Shehu Shagari in 1979 to 1983. And then we had Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 to 2007. And then we had late Umar Musa Yar'Adua from 2007 until 2010, and then we had Goodluck Jonathan, from 2011 until 2015. And then we have Muhammadu Buhari from 2015 up until now. So it's really interesting. And then, so Bola Tinubu will be the 6th presidential, democratically elected president, but he will also be the 5th president in the 4th Republic.
I mean, these are things to note, and it's good to break it down so people really understand. Because sometimes, how we were younger, some of these things, you wonder why you failed the exam. The very little information like this, where it's tricky. But I'm glad you did break it down. And also talking about again, symbolism and where we are, the Eagle Square. You and I were talking about the 3 arms zone earlier, and it's also a very honor before now. We used to hold the inauguration day. Shehu Shagari had this on October 1st, 1979. But when Abdulsalami handed over to Obasanjo in the 4th Republic, it was moved to May 29th, and it's been held at Eagle Square all the while.
Oh, since then it's
been held here. And it is surrounded by a lot of very key government parastatals, the National Assembly, the Federal Secretariat, the Office of the Head of Services around here. So the Supreme Court is also around here. And so it's almost like it unites all arms of government.
The cenotaph is just in front of the Eagle Square, but that symbolizes the strength and the power of Nigeria. Now, this Eagle Square, it's okay. I think we're being told that we need to join the parade. We need to join the parade now, so we take you through what's
general salute we listened to a while ago heralded the arrival of Chief of the Foreign Staff, General Lucky Irabo. You are welcome, sir.
Mesdames et messieurs, nous avons aussi parmi nous ce matin le chef du royaume de Borgou, le docteur Mohamed Al-Rout Antoro, celui qui a donné le titre de Jagaban au président élu. Voilà pourquoi on l'appelle Jagaban.
The fanfare you heard a while ago heralded the arrival of the Honorable Minister of Defense, Major General Saleh Magashu, retired. You're welcome. Your Excellencies, Honorable Minister,
All right, we welcome you back in here in the Eagle Square, and we have been following what's going on and letting you know that the Vice President-elect just arrived, KASHIM Shettima, and his wife, they just arrived at the venue now. At any moment from now, we'll have the President-elect, that's the sequence, or that's the protocol. The President-elect will arrive, and then when the President-elect arrives, after then will be the Vice President, and then the President Commander-in-Chief. That's what the hierarchy or the protocol is. Now, let's bring you to the studio. With me here right now is Senator-elect Mohammed Mungunu from representing Borno North Senatorial District. He is the Chief Whip of the House of Representatives. Distinguished Senator, nice to have you join me right now.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Great. Welcome.
On this auspicious occasion.
Amazing. Now, all of you have worked so hard for the new government that is coming in and all of that. This is a very colorful event today that has been organized and put together. Share with me what goes into your mind right now regarding what we have here today.
Well, as a member of the APC, today's occasion is a celebration of the hard-fought victory that the APC has achieved. And again, it's a wake-up call, more particularly to the President-elect and the incoming government that is going to constitute to deliver dividends of democracy to the doorsteps of the people. The expectations of Nigerians is very high on the government in terms of security, economy, and fighting corruption. And I'm very happy that all these issues are already embodied in the renewed hope agenda that the incoming government is desirous of pursuing it to its logical conclusion with a view to revitalizing the lives of Nigerians.
All right. Now, Nigeria has been the leader, the continental leader all the while. And some persons have said that the giant has been sleeping all the while. The giant of Africa has been sleeping. with the wake-up call and the hunger for change, do you think that this is the time now for Nigeria to begin to rise up to that leadership level on the African continent?
I think if you carefully study the renewed hope agenda, the various components of the agenda put together is a clear manifestation that the incoming government has the desire of bringing back the lost glory of Nigeria as the giant of Africa by one diversifying the economy away from being a mono economy that depends on oil for survival to agriculture, and then also exploit the untapped sector of the solid minerals resources as well as ITC. So once this is pursued to its logical conclusion, Nigeria is going to regain its lost glory in the Committee of Nations as the giant of Africa.
Okay. Now, all right, we understand that the CJN is just around, the Chief Justice of Nigeria has just arrived the Eagle Square now, but we'll keep letting you know as we get along who has arrived and who is next to arrive and so on. Now back to distinguished Senator-elect. Now, you're from Borno State, and Borno State has been dogged with insecurity issues over the past decade, let me say. But under President Muhammadu Buhari, we saw how he decimated the terrorists and returned some normalcy to the state and even to the entire region. We saw that there was also a compliment from Governor Babakana Sud of Borno State in ensuring that some people even return, some people in IDPs return to their ancestral homes and all of that. What do you see, what do you expect that is going to happen in the next administration when it comes to returning normalcy to Borno State and the Northeast?
Well, the Buhari administration, as you rightly pointed out, deserves a pat on the back on the issue of fighting Boko Haram. Because before the advent of the administration, even in the wildest of my dreams, I cannot think of going to my local government. But now I can go to my local government and sleep with my two eyes closed. So the Buhari administration deserves a pat on the back towards that direction. And as you rightly pointed out also, our governor has also worked tirelessly around the clock to make sure that people have returned back to their ancestral homes with a view to picking the pieces of their lives. And fortunately for the incoming government, because security is a primacy of governance, and the primary role of any government, the social contract that any government has with the people, is to guarantee their lives, security, and welfare. And as I said earlier on, the issue of security has also occupied a place of prominence in the renewed hope agenda. The renewed hope agenda is conscious of the fact that security is of primacy, and a lot of effort will be made towards securing the lives and property of the people in the incoming administration. That is, incoming administration will consolidate on the achievements so far made by the Buhari administration towards restoring peace and security to the country, because that is the only way economic activities will flourish, and that is the only way development can be guaranteed.
Okay. We need to thank you so much, distinguished Senator-elect, representing Borno North Senatorial District. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed dignitaries arrival unfolding here at the Eagle Square, where activities climaxing the presidential inauguration, swearing-in ceremony between the president-elect and the outgoing president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As we await the arrival of more dignitaries, I will grace this. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is announcing the arrival of the Senate President and the Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives. Just be received there by the Commander Gas Brigade.
Distingués, c'est à moi l'honneur d'annoncer l'arrivée du président du Sénat, Ahmed Lawal, président de la Chambre des
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the fanfare we heard a while ago heralded the arrival of the Senate President, distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan, and the Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Bajabiamila. Welcome, Your Excellency. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed dignitaries arrival unfolding here at the Eagle Square, Abuja, Nigeria, where activities climaxing the presidential inauguration and swearing-in ceremony between the outgoing president and the president-elect.
The arrival of the president-elect, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, to the square right now. You could see on your screen, he has arrived, and in the protocol and order of arrival, as the president-elect arrives, the next person to arrive, or the next guest to arrive, is the vice president. After the vice president, then the president and commander-in-chief arrives afterwards, and that commences or kick-starts the event proper. As you see right now, the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has arrived, and you can see him coming out of his vehicle there. He's wearing white and green, which is symbolic of the colors of Nigeria. He has arrived with his wife, and you can see the colors there. On a day like this, the national colors are very symbolic, and they are very emphatic in what message they carry to. Yes, so that's the man of the moment right now. The whole world is watching what's going on right now. You can imagine people following from the White House in Washington, from number 10 Downing Street in London, and all across the world, because they've sent their delegation to Nigeria to this inauguration, and you would see how people are very passionate and very enthusiastic. And that's the man of the moment in his white and green, symbolizing the colors of Nigeria. In the next few hours, the president-elect will be called the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. That switch is going to take place within the next few hours, and he will no longer be the President-elect anymore. He will be the President of the Commander and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Now, he has been working on this project for more than 30 years. and he's one leader Nigerians have come to accept as the first person who has prepared so well for presidency before he's taking over today. So that is it, and everyone is looking forward to how he's going to hit the ground running as he commences his administration today. He will be the next president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Meanwhile, we have some dignitaries arriving as well. The Senate President and as well as Speaker House of Representatives have taken their salute, and they are part of the ceremony today as well. And then we have earlier we had the arrival of the President of Chad, Muhammad Idris Deby Itno, arrive, as well as President of Liberia, George Weah. We also earlier saw the arrival of former President Goodluck Jonathan to the arena. So we have more guests coming in. You can imagine the crowd of people out here. Now the Eagle Square has a 5,000 capacity of people that can be in at the same time. But besides that, outside of the Eagle Square, we have a lot of a crowd, a very huge crowd of people who can't come in here due to security and due to issues of coordination and crowd control. So that's what it is as at this morning. You can see the Vice President-elect standing there. His wife is also there, and you can see the wife of the President-elect as well, and the President-elect. You know, the first families, they are, you know, greeting each other and saying hello to each other this morning. History has been made today. History has been made today, and the world is watching. The entire African continent is following this. And if you see the number of delegation that has come from across the world to be part of this, it tells you, it gives you a glimpse of how ready the world is for Nigeria to take the leadership role on the African continent. All right, with me in the studio, I have someone who has been in the limelight in the last 1 year, I must say. In the last few months has been more intense. I have with me a senior advocate of Nigeria, Babatunde Ogala, who became an officer of the Federal Republic yesterday. Congratulations, I must say. Good to see you. It's fine. Now, this victory for your client or your political party is said to be, it didn't come cheap, it didn't come easy. I need you to let us into the world of some of the challenges that you have faced, especially when it comes to, we're just narrowing down to things that constitutional will specify and others will say it is not like that, especially when it comes to Section 299, which is one of the conditions. Let us know what we can know so that nothing is subjudice in that regard.
When you say, I think you rightly captured it, one of the most prepared person that ever contested the presidency of this country is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I say this with all sense of responsibility. In 1999, we have a man who was fresh from prison and presidency was thrust on his laps. In 2007, President Yar'Adua was ill and ready to just retire to Katsina. We trust the presidency on him. Jonathan, accidental. You know, he also became president. President Buhari, of course, in 2015, Buhari had contested over and over again, so you could say he was also, to some extent, prepared. And Atiku Abubakar has always been prepared and always desired the office, but never made it. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu had taken the past 23 or so years to prepare for this day. He had taken his time, built bridges, made new friends, handshakes across, you know, and when we knew the right time to come. Of course, was it easy to even emerge as a candidate of his political party? And not beyond the primaries. The primaries is what we saw on the screen on that day. You will recall that even the NWC, of which I was a part, was unconstitutionally dissolved because it was perceived that we had too many of his sympathizers in there. So came out, grabbed the party from him. A party that he gave everything to put together. Those who wanted the party, yes, they grabbed the party, but behold, they didn't know what to do with the party. Ultimately, they constituted their own, first a contraption, which we call the interim or caretaker committee. That also ran the party for another 1.5 years and didn't even want to leave. Then we ultimately had an elective convention where new officials of the party were brought in. These are challenges because all of this we had done because the perceived the strength, great profile of this man that had to be criticized by many contending forces. Behold, he came to the primaries. Right under our nose, we saw how all manner of obstacles were put in his way. Even his own proteges, his mentees, were set against him. I need not mention names, but we all know the number of persons who have become governors, president, vice president, through Asiwaju's personal mentorship, his effort, support that he had brought from oblivion. All of them were thrown against him from across the country. Then we all came to those who also attained legislative high offices. Through his instrumentality, we also ran against him. Everything was put against this man. The whole came the primaries, overwhelmingly against all odds. Don't also forget that this was the man, when he made his Abeokuta declaration, they threatened him with sanctions. This was a man they threatened with disqualification. We also remember the consensus candidacy saga. I recall on the day this consensus candidacy came up, and the thing leaked to the press. Bola Ahmed Tinubu called me. He said, listen, I've never seen the man so down that, are they saying this game is over? Are they saying, what do we do? Are we going to go to court to challenge this? Of course, for those of us who know Asiwaju, he said to me, today, oh yeah, kill a machine next. Go and find the solution. That was it. Kill a machine next. Yes, he said, look, no one solution. Go and find a solution to this. This is our party. We're fighting there. We brought through the books and then came up with that legal opinion, which also went viral with that concept. Impossibility. So we forced the hand of the bag, we forced the hands back to ensure that we had primaries. He won the primaries. Then came the electioneering. Sabotage from within was also real. All manner of speculations. Some people somewhere have turned themselves, they call them the cabal. They call them, some call them villa cabal, village cabal, rock cabal, and what have you. All manner of cabals came against this man. We ran into the elections. At the end, there was the challenge of the Muslim ticket, and I said, I am not running a government premised on religion. I'm running a government of competence. I asked him, are you likely going to form a government of national unity? He said to them, I will form a government of national competence. Because this country has to be moved forward. Let me also say this. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the only presidential candidate who had and has a clearly laid out and properly set out renewed hope agenda. I challenge anybody to say if the other parties who ran the elections with him, where they saw their manifestos. And that is why the expectations of Asiwaju Tinubu are as high as they are today. Expectations are so high because people expect so much. Then coming back,
run us through, because I'm looking at time, but run us through the last week or so. Victories
the last week has been, and I would say for me as a lawyer, being his counsel and counsel for the party in this series of cases that were also thrown in at the last minute to throw spanner in the works, I won't fail at the elections. Let me say this. Pre-election cases, we had 21. Pre-election. filed against Tinubu. I was involved in all. 21. To the glory of God, up to the Supreme Court, we did not lose any. We did not have cause to appeal. We were always defendants. Then came this last week. Some were saying they are residents of Abuja, they want 25%, they cannot be sworn in. Some went to court, on which was decided also on Friday, to say, look, they don't stop the inauguration. There was also the Owuru matter, who suddenly said, oh, I won in 2019 by referendum. Stop the presidential inauguration and then inaugurate me instead. We won all. And like it's been joked, the joke has been trending on social media, Bola Tinubu is about 57 million richer before even assuming office. Because first one got 40 million, 40 million as cost against him. At the Supreme Court, we got 2 million. Before then, at the Court of Appeal, we had 5 million. The Court of Appeal, we had 117 million. So, but you see, what I want to say, I know we are constrained for time. At the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court made it loud and clear that PDP stop terrorizing justice of the Supreme Court with the media. Stop terrorizing and bullying us. So you can see it's been challenging up to Friday, and they created so much tension.
I'm going to have you back again, see you on the President of Nigeria. The Vice President has arrived, and that's what you're seeing going on right now. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. I'm going to have you back here eventually as we get along on the show. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellency, you are heartily welcome.
Excellence, le vice-président de la République fédérale du Nigeria, le professeur YEMI OSINBAJO, SAN, DCON.
And I hand over to my co-compare, Captain Godfrey Adaba.
Thank you very much, Flight Lieutenant Festus Ezenyi, for the commentary so far. Your Excellencies, visiting President, the Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. The still dignitaries' arrival unfolding here at the Eagle Square, Abuja, Nigeria, venue for the presidential inauguration and swearing-in ceremony of the President-elect and the outgoing President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In a short while from now, we shall be expecting the arrival of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari. As we anticipate his arrival, permit me to recognize the presence of the Liberian President, His Excellency, George Weah. You are most welcome, Your Excellency.